This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
For WRCE 107.7 FM News, I'm Joanne Krulotz. The U.S. Department of Justice will be at Wisconsin locations on Election Day. The Justice Department announced Friday that it plans to monitor compliance with federal voting rights laws in 86 jurisdictions in 27 states. In Wisconsin, those are the cities of Milwaukee and Wausau and the Russ County towns of Lawrence and Thornapple. Thornapple is currently appealing a federal injunction requiring it to bring an accessible voting machine back for Tuesday's election. The mayor of Wausau unilaterally moved the city's ballot drop box after discovering it was not properly bolted to the ground. It was later returned for use, but the Wisconsin Department of Justice is investigating. This election could help determine short and long-term control of the Wisconsin legislature. UW-La Crosse Associate Political Science Professor Anthony Chergosky says new legislative maps have opened the possibility for Democrats to flip seats in the legislature. However, Chergosky says if Republicans maintain control in the Assembly, it could mean problems for Democrats in 2026. Even with the new district maps, Republicans are certain to maintain a majority in the state Senate, where they currently hold a 22-10 edge over Democrats. Do not wear that MAGA hat or Kamala shirt to the polls when you go to vote. Lisa Hale reports.
When people are passionate about their candidate, they tend to wear that passion via garb. Megan Wolf, the chief elections official in Wisconsin.
So if somebody does come in with some type of political hat or shirt or other display of a position on the ballot, they're going to be asked to not come in with that on, to potentially change it.
Wolf says any display of support for a candidate or for a position on the ballot is considered electioneering and is not allowed at the polls.
The Wisconsin Electric Cooperative Association Board of Directors announced it has selected Rob Richard to serve as the statewide association's next president and CEO. Richard has been serving in a dual role as interim president and CEO and vice president of government relations and external affairs since August. He also serves as the executive director of the Federated Youth Foundation. According to WECA Board Chair Dan Hilberry, Rob has demonstrated his ability to be an exceptional leader. While we knew we had an extremely strong candidate in-house, as a board, recognizing the critical importance of this position, we felt it was necessary to do our due diligence and conduct a nationwide search. After reviewing more than 100 applications, we decided Richard was the best choice. With him at the helm, we are assured a streamlined transition and a continuity of operations, which is important as we work to ensure all electric cooperative members have access to safe, reliable, and affordable electricity. Richard grew up in southwestern Wisconsin and earned a degree from UW-Platteville. His experience includes time as a legislative staffer, working in the office of former WECA president and CEO Steve Freese, when Freese served as a representative in the Wisconsin State Assembly, as well as the offices of Representative Mark Gottlieb and Senator Scott Fitzgerald. He also worked in government affairs at the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation and at Circus World Museum. He joined WECA in January of 2019. Richard lives in Sauk City. Rob Richard succeeds Steve Freese, who died August 28th following a battle with cancer. On election night, the state's biggest city could cause everyone else to wait. Civic Media's Stuart J. Waddles has more.
Milwaukee's absentee ballot results are typically reported late on election night, often after midnight. That's due to the large number of ballots and state law restrictions. The Wisconsin State Senate earlier this year blocked a bill to allow earlier absentee ballot processing. That means Milwaukee can't start to count until Election Day. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson knows people across the state and the country will be paying attention.
And so we know that there are going to be a lot of people who are watching Milwaukee. And we know, because we will require this, we always have required this in the city, that in Milwaukee we will follow the law. At the same time, we encourage every eligible voter to participate.
Dane County has its budget for next year. A $925 million plan has been tweaked and approved by the County Board of Supervisors. Overall, dropping revenue and increasing staff costs are starting to put a squeeze on the county, the same way they have in Madison and lots of other municipalities across Wisconsin. Of course, someone new will carry out this budget. On Tuesday, voters will decide whether Melissa Agard or Dana Pellebon should be the next Dane County executive. A McWanago man is accused of double voting twice. Waukesha County prosecutors accused 37-year-old Jason O'Shea of casting votes in both Wisconsin and Florida in 2018 and 2020. The report came from the Wisconsin Elections Commission during an inspection for voter fraud. The commission says O'Shea cast absentee ballots in New Myrna Beach and then voted in the Wisconsin election both years. O'Shea faces 2 counts of election fraud. The 2024 Cultural Landscape Legacies annual tour will begin at the historic Battle of Wisconsin Heights site from the Black Hawk War of 1832 on Saturday, November 9th, beginning at 9 a.m. The site is located on State Highway 78, a short distance from Sauk City. The tour will be led by David Jetson, former Department of Natural Resources Riverway coordinator, who was responsible for acquisition of the historic site in the early 1990s and who is a scholar of the Black Hawk War and, in particular, the famous battle fought at that location. In addition to the tour, the group will visit the Native American burial grounds on the property before traveling to Ferry Bluff for a hike to Cactus Bluff to view the landscape and the route of flight across the river taken by Black Hawk's people. Following lunch in Spring Green, the group will tour the Shot Tower at Tower Hill State Park and discuss the role of Old Helena in the Black Hawk War. A Wisconsin State Park sticker will be required for the final stop. Reservations are required and the tour is limited to the first 15 people to sign up. Contact Mark Cupp, Cultural Landscape Legacies President, by calling 608-739-3188 or by email at mark.cupp@wisconsin.gov. Cultural Landscape Legacies is a nonprofit organization dedicated to protecting and preserving rock art, earthworks, and cultural resources in the Upper Midwest. For more information, go to cll.org or find CLL on Facebook. A Red Cross blood drive will be held Wednesday from 11 to 4 at Wyoming Valley School in Spring Green. Appointments are encouraged by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS or go online to redcrossblood.org. For WRCE News, I'm Joanne Krulotz.
The Packers lose to Detroit. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Packers had an early field goal, then trailed the rest of the night, losing 24-14 to the Lions at Lambeau Field. Dropped passes and penalties killed the Packers. Running back Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, man, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, a lot of momentum killers. You know, we've been getting away with a lot of it because we've been kind of masking it with the wins. But when you play a good team, man, you know, all the little things catch up to you.
The Packers now head into their bye week at 6-3 in third place behind Detroit and Minnesota in the NFC North Division. NBA, Bucks and the Cavaliers in Cleveland tonight. Bucks forward Bobby Portis says his home was broken into during Saturday night's game in Milwaukee and says several personal items were stolen. Baseball, the Brewers with 2 players winning Gold Glove awards for the first time since 1979. Second baseman Bryce Terang and outfielder Sal Frelick.
It's definitely cool. A little surreal still, and I think even cooler to do it, with Bryce.
That's Sal Frelick with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Rapper Young Thug was sentenced to 40 years in prison for gun and drug charges. Despite this news, the incredibly successful rapper, whose real name is Jeffrey Williams, will be released from prison and given credit for time served. The judge set all kinds of contingencies and strict parameters in regard to the sentence. With a name like Young Thug, he is asking to be a suspect in any crime. Maybe legally change your name to something a little less crime-friendly. Young Weeblo Scout or Young Member of Up With People. I'm spitballing here. This year's World Series went yard in the ratings, which is not a huge surprise considering the teams represented the 2 biggest markets in America. Yahoo Entertainment reports that more people watched the Los Angeles Dodgers defeat the New York Yankees in 5 games than any previous World Series dating back to 2017. This was the first year they put pitchers on a clock to speed up the game, but despite that, the season did not end any sooner. There have been many lifelong Republicans who are jumping ship and endorsing Kamala Harris for president. Arnold Schwarzenegger is continuing the trend in Hollywood. On the platform formerly known as Twitter, the former California governor said he is an American before he is a Republican and therefore will vote Harris. This is not a huge shock, as Arnold has always surprised people politically and as an actor. What I find most surprising is that Schwarzenegger's Austrian accent hasn't gotten any less thick in 50 years. Game of Thrones might be coming to the big screen. Series creators say it was always their intention to end the iconic TV show with 3 feature films instead of the finale HBO went with. The Hollywood Reporter says Warner Brothers has a project in the works, but it is in the very early stages and no one is attached at the moment. GOT fans might want to check out House of the Dragon, which HBO rolled out in 2022, and an upcoming prequel series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which should drop in 2025. From the little screen to the big screen, John Krasinski is keeping the role of Jack Ryan. Krasinski played Ryan for 4 seasons on the Amazon Prime series Jack Ryan. The Hollywood Reporter says he will now move to the big screen, where he will be the 5th actor to play the character over the last 35 years. Previous Ryans include Alec Baldwin, Harrison Ford, Ben Affleck, and Chris Pine. There is no word yet on which Tom Clancy novel the next film will be based on. Joining Krasinski in the cast will be Wendell Pierce as James Greer and Mike Kelly as Mike November, both men also reprising their roles from the Prime series. Wicked opens November 15th in theaters, and the early buzz from critics, they're raving about it. One critic for Variety called it a masterpiece. Pop star Ariana Grande plays the lead role of Glinda. If you hear a murmuring across the country, it's Oscar buzz. This is part 1 of the film. Part 2 will hit theaters in 2025. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
It is going to be cloudy, drizzly, scattered showers and thunderstorms today. Our high 67 this afternoon. Tonight, cloudy with rain and thunderstorms, and the rain could be heavy, a half inch to 3/4 of an inch or more likely. Our low 59. Tomorrow, cloudy with more rain and a high of 65. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temp 62.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.